Hey guys, it's Ben. Right now, about to give you my A-League season predictions for season 2019-2020. So, again, first time I'm ever doing this. Don't know how this is going to come out. Look, I may upset a few people with where I predict teams to finish, but again, that's the thing. This is my honest opinion of how I think the league's going to shape out. I think looking at how sides have recruited this season, it's going to be very tight. I think there's a couple of sides I've got here missing out on the top six that could make it very easily. But I'm filming it, 2 weeks out from the start of the season. I've left it late because of these pre-season games and the FFA Cup that's been going on in case of injuries or new players being brought in. But I honestly think this season is going to be probably the closest season ever. So just because I've got your side outside the top six doesn't mean I don't think that they won't make it in. I feel it's very toss of a coin for who takes those final couple of places in the top six. I think the top three are going to be pretty set all season. I think it's definitely going to be between them for who wins the Premier's Plate. But after that, in the finals, I'll predict the finals when the finals arrive. I'm not going to try and predict the finals now because it's just too tough to predict. But in 11th spot, I'm going with the Phoenix. Now, they had such a great season last year. The Knicks did. But I think that all goes down to Mark Rudin and the philosophy he brought to the Phoenix. I think it suited that club very well. And their style of play. His philosophy suited their style of play and the sort of players that they attract. But I think changing manager again after having such a stable setup last season, I think they could drop down a little bit. Again, as I said, all these sides are very capable. Outside the top six are very capable, but it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see how the Phoenix go this year under Tale. In 10th, got the new boys, Western United. As I've said, Mark Rudin did a brilliant job with the Knicks, but coming in with a brand new side in Western United, yes, it's his side, he's put it together himself, but on top of that, he's now got to set up the club culture and set up everything to do with that club and the way it's run, way that he wants it run, the way that the playing group needs to gel. I think this year I've got them finishing here in 10th, but they very well easily could be up in the top six. It's just such an unknown with them, but I think it's going to be interesting to see how the cohesion that squad can bring together. We're still bringing a couple of players in now, so that'll be interesting. But they could finish higher, they could finish in the same spot, but I'm not sure. In 9th position, I have the Wanderers. It's they've looked great so far in what I've seen from the FFA Cup, but I believe they've copped a couple of injuries and a couple of their main guys are already out for extended periods. So that I think could really hurt their season. It is a long season, but it's also the A-League is a league where you need to be picking up points early because we do get busy in the middle part of the season around Christmas, New Year's, and that's when playing in summer, that's when it's probably going to be at its hottest. So that'll be when they're getting everyone back. Hopefully they've got the points for them. They've got the points on the board. Otherwise it could be a long second half of the season, but I've got a feeling that they're going to do all right this year. They've recruited well. Marcus Bubble, now having that experience last year, knows what the league's about, and I think that could help him. being in that position, they could strike. If they stay around mid-table, you never know where they could finish. In 8th, I've got Newcastle. The Jets, I think the Jets were the biggest disappointment last year. After making and hosting the grand final the year before, yes, they lost to Melbourne in dubious circumstances. I honestly thought that they'd push on and could have been up in the top 2 last year, but I don't know what it is with Newcastle. They seem to have a good season followed by a bad season. This season, I think, needs to be a stability season for them, where they need to try and stabilise where they want to be in the league, position-wise on the ladder. It'll be a very interesting season, having lost a few players, but having Ernie Merrick in charge again, he's the sort of manager that he may be able to get the side straight back up to where they were 2 years ago when they were pushing for the championship. But it'll be interesting to see. And now 7th, it might be surprising, Central Coast. I honestly think Central Coast will be up thereabouts this season in terms of finals positions. You've seen so far in the Cup and at the back end of last season that they just started to find form. And I think the way that they're building, they could be building to something special, if not this year, definitely the next 2 to 3 years. I see them potentially getting back up to where they were, I think nearly 10, probably like 8 years ago, when they were in all those grand finals in the Champions League, winning the grand final. It'll be very interesting to see where they go this year. And now top 6. So you can obviously tell who I've got in the top 6 now, but the order in this order in the top 6, I think, could change numerous times. But I'm pretty certain that this top 6 is the way it's going to be. So in 6th spot, I've got Brisbane. I think the squad that Robbie Fowler has put together since coming in as manager is very competitive. But at the end of the day, I think he needs. I hope for Brisbane's sake that he doesn't try to play a British style, European style football. It can work in the right circumstances, but there's been too many occasions where you've had a manager come over from Europe or England, try and play that style. It just doesn't work out here, whether it's the heat or the condition of the pitches. It's the recruitment he's done as well. He's got players that are established, players that know what it takes, but will they be able to gel? I've got them finishing just inside, but they can finish just outside just as easily. But if they can get on a good run, and I think they'll be thereabouts towards the midpoint of the season. I think second half they'll kick on. And if they can get on a roll, they could be a side to watch out for. In 5th spot, I have Adelaide. So, obviously everyone knows what happened with Marco Kurz, their coach, being told before the end of the season that you're not in our future plans, which I think is absolutely ridiculous. He got them the FFA Cup. He nearly got them to a grand final. Like, what else could he have done? He was so successful with Adelaide last year, and it'll be interesting to see how they back up last season. I do see them dropping off a little bit, but it'll be a very interesting season to see how Adelaide react under the new manager. They were promised funds. They haven't really spent that much, but they did have that solid squad last year, so they can keep in the same vein of form as they were in at the end of last season. It could be a good year. 4th, funnily enough, where Marco Kurz has ended up, Melbourne Victory. So the Victory, for the first time ever with Victory, they're going into a season without Kevin Muscat playing or coaching. It's going to be a different feel. Muscat was, I believe, captain for all of his playing career, and he pretty much went straight from playing into coaching down there. It'll be a different club now, but hopefully they're not struggling too much, and hopefully the side effects of that 6-1 loss in the semi-final against Sydney, hopefully that doesn't weigh them down this year and they don't have that in the back of their head. Because if they have that in the back of their head, I think they could drop lower than what I've got them. But I do see them having a very good season under Marco Kurtz. As I said before, what he did at Adelaide last year, having a bigger squad, a much more talented squad at Victory, it could bring out even more, having him as gaff. Now third spot, I've got Perth. They were amazing last year. They were the real standout. They were unfortunately lost to Sydney on penalties in the grand final. Whether or not that can be a hangover this season, and with the added pressure of Champions League football, it'll be interesting. With them having never experienced the Champions League football before, it does take a lot. You do really need to use your squad very well, especially from that middle part of the season on. It is draining on the team, and whether they can withstand that or whether it affects them, I'm not sure. I see them starting the season very strongly, but that second half of the season, I'm dubious on them. That's why I have got them a bit lower on my predictions than most people might think. But I just think for what they did last season under Popper is a great manager. He will have them primed again. But again, that Champions League, when Popper was Wanderers, yes, Wanderers won the Champions League, but they sort of, you could see towards the back end of the season, they were struggling a little bit. So it'll be interesting to see what he does to combat this time round. Now, number 2, I've got, so obviously the top 2 now. In second spot, I have Melbourne City. I think they've always promised so much, but very rarely delivered, besides the one FFA Cup a couple of years ago. I think this could be the year they finally deliver on all that promise. But again, I think they've finally got a manager in there who understands the pressure and will want that pressure of trying to deliver for a club that wants so much, expects so much, being run by the City Football Group. But yeah, obviously I have them finishing just behind Sydney FC. Last year was meant to be Sydney FC's fall-off year. And look, it's amazing that it was a fall-off year. They still managed to finish second and get into the grand final and win the grand final in a fall-off year. So I think, yes, they've got Champions League, but you look at the depth they've added to their squad. It's ridiculous. And I think for Steve Corica, coming into this season, he's got that experience last year of what it takes. I definitely think that he'll be able to use that to his advantage this year, and he'll be able to maybe make a few little changes in the middle to the end of the season, where I think Sydney did seem to at points last year drop a few games, and I think if he does that, Sydney, there's no telling where they could finish. But so that's my A-League predictions. Let me know what you think in the comments. I'll pop them up right here. So there you go. There's my predictions for the A-League season 2019-2020. Give me a thumbs up. Hit the subscribe. Let me know in the comments down below what you think of my predictions. Where do you think I'm right? Where do you think I'm wrong? Let me know what your predictions are. Let me know where you think the teams will finish this year. But as I said, those teams in the teams outside the top 6, there's no reason they can't make the finals. I think this is going to be the closest season ever, and I think it's going to be a season where if you miss out, get a couple of draws, you could very well ruin those missed opportunities for costing you a spot in the finals. But again, this is the end of the video. Thanks for watching. Subscribe, thumbs up, turn the bell on, know when I upload. Most importantly, keep living a great life. Peace.